The lack of correction officers has been one of the main complaints lodged against the state of Mississippi in this recent prison reform movement. Here are some of the comments dealing with the staffing problems.
Of course, some of the contraband that's getting into prisons because of the guards, because they're getting paid, and of course they need that money because they are getting underpaid. I don't know if giving them a pay raise is going to stop the contraband or stop the things that's going on in the prison. I don't think that's going to solve the problem.
Let me just say, we have a membership of about 175 members in the Department of Correction, but the work that we do benefit all of them when we're successful. We're hearing from our workers on a daily basis. You can only imagine the number of workers who have now left the Department of Correction because of many issues. And one has been pay, one has been working condition, one has been lack of respect from the leaders of this state when it comes to their pay, their benefits, and their rights on the job. We have a number of workers who lost their state personnel board protection, which allows them to have due process rights. That means they have a property right to their job after they have served a 1-year probationary period, and that means you cannot be fired without just cause. Well, the state legislature saw fit to remove that protection from the workers, which will allow them to be terminated for good reason, bad reason, or no reason at all. So it's working under that kind of stress that have gotten our workers really looking for jobs, employment elsewhere.
Representative Dortch said, what we saw today at Parchman was a breeding ground for a bad situation. Corrections officers we spoke to said each unit should have 4 officers to 64 people. What we had this past weekend was 2 people for 128. That's like half of what you need. And I don't think anyone can appreciate how bad the situation is. And we had less than 4 staffers for 128 inmates, and likely the staff managing were women.
Yes.
When I was incarcerated, you know, majority of the staff were women, you know, and I was kind of found that was kind of eerie to me. You know, was no manpower, because if anything happened, what they gonna do? What can they do? They're females, you know what I mean? And as far as them being underpaid, I believe that it's true. Underpaid and understaffed. I feel like if you're going to run an institution, you should at least have the available funds to pay the officers who want to work. If you're not going to pay me, I'm not going to do my job.
Criminal justice reform has been on the rise nationwide, including President Trump's bipartisan 2018 bill, the First Step Act. The tide in the country has changed, and many Americans believe that nonviolent drug crimes should be dealt with in other ways. This is what people had to say at the January 24th rally.
I feel like that's foolish. I was affected last year, so, you know, and it was just about marijuana. And I was like, wait, I have to pay out $5,000 for 2 grams a week? I really feel like they should do away with it for the ones that's in there for nonviolence. It's community service. You know, it's other places or other things that they can do to serve their time for that, you know. I mean, they decriminalize it, then that'll be better either way.
Nonviolent criminals that's there for low-level drug crimes such as cannabis, which is a God-given, that God put it on this earth. They're putting people in prison for it, and they're putting them in there with rapists, murderers, and thieves. Exactly. They're treating them like that. They're treating them like they are murderers, but they're putting them in with murderers. Low-level crime, low-level offenders should never, ever be put into a cell with a high-level offender, ever. There's no questions about that.
Some of these people are in here for non-violent offenses. Some of these people are in here for selling weed to feed their kids. But now the white man sells weed legally and ain't nobody saying nothing. Come on, man. We need to be fair across the board. And I hate to say this, but I'm gonna just keep it 100 with you since you asked me. It's time for us women to get mad enough. See, when we get mad, that's when that's when things are gonna change. When we get tired of them doing this to our husbands, our sons, our fathers. You understand? When we get tired, it's a whole different climate. And we're tired. You can't do this to our people. I don't care what they did. I understand everybody makes mistakes. And he who judges, we already know the end of that. We'll be judged. We're all human. We all make mistakes. How many people are supposed to be in prison right now and just isn't?
It's a business. They can't make money unless the prisoners stay in prison. This is why they have the prison in the first place is because once they get all of these black men in prison, then they just continue to make money. See, the federal government match all of the funds that Mississippi raised. If Mississippi is spending $300 million, they get $350 million from the federal government. That's money. All of these legislators, they get their cut of that. See, by vending machines, phone machines, all of this kind of stuff. So they make money off of this. This is a big business. And the black people, they don't understand that. And when the black guys go out and commit these crimes, they don't understand. They go into prison. They set all of these laws in Mississippi to victimize the black man in every way possible. And the black man doesn't even know it. But when they go through my process, they become rational thinking individuals and they don't end up in prison. Pretty soon they catch another crime or either they violate probation. They got them right back in here. So they make money off it. It's a continuous money-making thing that the white legislators have. They don't care about these black people in prison. This is just a new form of slavery to get you in there and you don't get out.
First of all, the $3,000 a month it keeps to keep somebody in Parchment, they can release nonviolent offenders, and if they really feel like they need to track them, put them on an ankle bracelet, because that costs $300 a month, not $3,000 a month, and you're going to free up a whole lot of money to take care of the prisons if you get rid of people. Marijuana, seriously, it is ridiculous that we have anybody serving time for marijuana when 97% of the people in this state believe it ought to be legal. Why are they in jail? But release nonviolent offenders and come back and take care of the ones who are violent offenders with programs and a living condition that will not want them to get out and recommit crimes and learn how to commit better crimes. My point is, when you have no self-respect because of the way you've been raised or you've been treated or the way your upbringing, when you have no self-respect, how are you going to respect another man's life when you don't respect your own?
Is Mississippi prison reform and criminal justice a black or white issue? Do black lawmakers have a responsibility to the black community, since the majority of Mississippians incarcerated are African American? This is what the participants at the rally had to say.
I've talked to some of them. I've even sent them a process. I've told them what the issue was. Let's get behind getting the inmate fixed. And I sent them a process. Never hear from them again. So they're in it with the white ones. Once they get these positions, they're in there for themselves, see? They're in there to make their money and love themselves in the world, and that's what they do. And they don't care about these black men in prison either. So they are in there with the white guys. If they would step up and speak up, they would do it. But they don't care either. So if they don't ever get this process that I have to the inmates, then this prison system will never be fixed.
Well, I feel like basically now that it's been brought to the forefront that the legislators, they make the laws. So that's where you really got to start at. You know what I'm saying? Then you work your way on up. Because on the field, all they do is sign paperwork. You know what I mean? So we got to attack them, the Senate legislator, and work up from there. As far as them trying to assist us, well, I can say, I don't know. I really can't say what they're trying to do because I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen but a bunch of talk. I believe in action. You got to show me. You can tell me something all day, but you got to show me what you're doing.
I went to school for criminal justice my first 2 years of college. If I feel like I can't help people or help my people, then why am I trying to be in that position? I'm trying to be somewhere where I can be able to help my community benefit from whatever I do. Right now I'm in culinary and real estate. My goal was to be able to help people who are hungry and homeless. So if you're in a position and you're higher up, help your people, especially our black people. We've been fighting too long to be in these positions, and for us to get them and not do the right thing with it, it's like we're taking our education and say, well, I got mine, my sister don't got hers, and I don't care. That's not right.
Hello, and welcome to the Tonya G Show, where we discuss everything from politics, business, health, and so much more. We're here at We Believe Studios in Jackson, Mississippi. Please be sure to support the WeBelieve.global brand. You can view our live stream shows on WeBelieveDigital.com, as well as on Facebook at the We Believe Digital Podcast. Just put that in your search engine and it'll pop right on up. So we're going to get right into today's show. My guest is no stranger to the Tonya G Show. He has actually been on a few times to talk to us. He is an author and counselor and a therapist for over 41 years. He's run for governor of Mississippi and also is currently running for the mayor of Meridian. He's here to talk about what he's been up to, and we'll talk about a few national current events if we get to it. Welcome to the show, Mr. Robert J. Ray.
Well, thank you. I'm really excited to be back with you. Yeah, I missed you for that long length of time that we was gone.
Yes, sir.
But a lot of things have happened, and we got to cover quite a few things in this session, I guarantee.
Yes, sir. As you can see, we are in a new studio. You have been to every location, so you are special to the Tonya G Show, and we are thankful for you. So let's talk to the viewers about how you got into counseling, and I want you to talk about the organism chapter 4, but just kind of talk about how you got into counseling.
It was back in 1975. I worked for General Motors, AC spark plug, and all they do there is drink. And I drank my share, but only I was an alcoholic. And I started getting in trouble on the job. And any other job I probably would have fired, but we had a big, strong union there, and they would let you go for so long. And I was getting ready, I had 3 days off, 2 weeks this week, and a month. And I was getting ready to be given 3 months off. And the plant superintendent, who always spoke to me, and I was working as a sanitation guy, and going around putting in paper towels in the bathroom stuff. But every time he saw me, he would always speak to me, Robert, or Bob, he would call me, and everybody wondered why the plant superintendent would speak to a little black dude who was on sanitation, and I never could figure it out either. But that night I was getting ready to get time off, 90 days off, and that would have just about killed my financial thing, and my wife would have been probably trying to get rid of me too. And he came back to the plant that night, and he saw me sitting in there, and I was all sad and about drunk. And he asked me, he stopped and said, "What's wrong, Robert?" I said, "Well, they're getting ready to give me some time off. I came back from the bar late, you know." So he said, "Come on down to my office." So I went down to his office, and he had this beautiful office and all the plush stuff. And he made a statement while we was in there that seemed like every time you get in trouble, Robert, you be drinking. And I had never thought about it before, but that was correct. It was. I said, yeah. I said, yeah, that's right. He said, "I tell you what." He said, "It's a place down in Flint, downtown Flint, that's a treatment center." He said, "Go down there, and I'll let you come back to work in 2 weeks." So that just shot me back up high. So I agreed to that, and I went down there, and the first day I got down there, they was doing a session called "The Symptoms and Phases of the Disease of Alcoholism." And so I went in, and they told me to go in and sit down. Why? And I kept looking around and thinking, I said, "Wonder who told them about me? How did they find out about me?" All of a sudden, because everything they was talking about fitted my lifestyle, and I had been in it. But I found out later that it was millions of people that had this problem.
Right.
So I went down there for a year, and my counselor and my mentor turned out to be Ron Cornwell. He, about halfway through my training, he said, "Well, Robert, why don't you consider becoming a counselor? Because there's no black counselors, and y'all have a lot of addiction in y'all's race, and there's no black counselor." So I said, "Well, I'll consider. I'll go home and talk to my wife." And so I went home and told my wife what he had asked me to do, and she laughed about it. You know, that
put some fire under you, like I'll show you.
Yeah, right. Because every time I'd have one of these lame brain ideas, she had a certain laugh. She would, knowing that this is going down the tube again and get to drinking it. But I said,
but it was different this time.
It was different this time, and I did go on through there, and I became a counselor, and then I became a trainer of counselors. And about halfway through training, my mentor died, and he that Christmas he came down, and we would always have a Christmas party out at the organism, and he called me upstairs and he told me, say, no matter what happens to me, make sure you go through your trainer's role, and then stay here and help Cynthia and become a trainer of trainers. And somehow I did that, and I worked there 3 years with her, and became a trainer of trainer and bought the franchise.
So the program, in essence, you went through it. And this is Mr. Cornwell. Cornwell is the gentleman who created it. So you went through this program, and then now you have taken over the program, and it's something that you are trying.
I'm called. My chapter is chapter 4. 1, 2, 3. It was 3 more individuals that went through the trainers role and bought the a franchise. It's like a McDonald's franchise.
Got you.
But only it's counseling and therapy franchise. And I was the last one to buy a chapter, which is chapter 4.
Okay, so let's talk about the organism chapter 4. Talk about it a little in depth, and hold that up so the viewers can see that, Mr.
This
Ray.
is the reason I'm running for Mary Maria. I've been trying to get them to put this program in the police station, the department, so that they can get rid of the systemic racism in the police officers. That's the black and white. And then once they get rid of the racism, the systemic racism that they was born with, then the police department can run like an orderly, holistic, non-discriminatory police department.
Right.
But they will not do it for, I don't know why, but I think it's because they want the racism in there, because as long as they got the racism in there, the white officers have the upper hand.
Right.
See, they can do things and they can get away with it. But the 20 officers that I'll train in this process, they will change that whole complex down at the police station. They will check everybody that tries to do anything racist or tries to do anything against the citizens. They will be right there to check them, and they would change the whole complex of the police department. And then once we get them all trained, then we'll have the most holistic, non-racist police department in the nation.
So you have, is this like a two-part component? You have a component that will help to train and to help with systemic racism where the officers are concerned, and you also have a program that will help with the recidivism rate of prisoners returning, because you and I have spoken about this in depth quite a bit. So is it two different components to this program?
It's actually 4 different.
It's 4 different components. So so again, break down those 4 components.
The 4 components in it is, first is the didactic presentation. We have in there like the 4 basic needs. Every person in the world needs 4 basic needs. That's the physical, emotional, and social status. Everybody want to be part of the bowling team.
Absolutely.
And the basketball team. A part of. See, this is what you have to have in order to be normal. And achievement of mastery is the last one, which you've got to be achieving something. You've got to have a long-term goal that you want to achieve something. I want to be
Hold that thought, Mr. Ray. Before we go to break, I want to remind you about our weekly show lineup. Every Tuesday at 7:30 Central Standard Time, Socrates Garrett live. On Wednesday, you can watch yours truly at 6:30, The Tonya G Show. On Thursday at 6:30, the doors of the church are open. On Friday at 6:30 p.m., the Mississippi Link live. And every Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, the USDA Adventurious Update. Be sure to tune in, and we'll be right back after the break. We have about 20 seconds, so please be sure to support We Believe brand at webelieve.global. You can also check out our live stream shows on webelievedigital.com, as well as on Facebook at We Believe Digital Podcast. Also, for all of your insurance needs, contact the kpgagency.com. We will be right back after this break. Hi, I'm Tonya Gray with your Insurance Minute. When you buy a life insurance policy, you're making an agreement with an insurance company to pay a monthly premium in exchange for a payment or death benefits to your beneficiaries at the time of your death. You could purchase a life insurance policy that lasts for just a few years or for your entire life with death benefits ranging anywhere from several $1,000s to several $1 million. If you were to die unexpectedly, will anyone in your life be financially impacted? If the answer is yes, you might want to consider a life insurance policy. Life insurance helps protect the people in your life who need you the most. Legally, your beneficiaries can use a death benefit payout any way they wish. A life insurance death benefit is meant to replace the income of the policyholder, so beneficiaries can use the payout on whatever expenses they have after the death of the policyholder. Contact the KPG agency for a free quote to start a policy today.
Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee.
To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
Welcome back to the Tonya G Show. We are live here in We Believe Digital Studios, and my guest is joining me, Mr. Robert J. Ray. We were talking about the different, or the 4 different components of the organism. Go ahead and continue with that.
Like I said, the first is a didactic presentation. Like I do that on a chart, on a whiteboard. I put this up on there just like painting a portrait up there, like the visible and submerged of the aspects of addiction and alcoholism. There's so much above the surface you see in alcoholism. You see them going to the liquor store. You see them fighting and arguing. You see them banging their cars up and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You see that. Mm-hmm. But it's the stuff that's up under the surface. It's just like the Titanic. When the Titanic hit the iceberg, they saw that big mountain of ice up there, but they thought they had got around it. But all of the
bottom structure was falling
what
apart.
Killed them.
Right.
See, when they hit that down up under the bottom. This is the same way that addictions are. It's what's up under. That's why people commit suicide, because they be dealing with all of the stuff that's below the surface that people don't even know they're dealing with.
Right.
And then we have a session like the 6 dynamic steps to recovery. You know, you have to recognize a disease, and then you have to accept that you have the disease, and then you got to petition that you want to get over the disease and petition for help and stuff like this. Mm-hmm. And 6 dynamic steps. So when you show these inmates these, which that's what I was doing, when you show them this stuff, they begin to see who they are. They begin to see how they made mistakes in their life.
Right.
And you got something like the mental health continuum. Mm-hmm. That's the one that's on my site now. They be asking, why do these people go and do these mass shootings? Right. Like the last one, the little white guy that went down to the FedEx. Mm-hmm. The police had went to and talked to him, and they, projected he's okay. Which all people with bad mental health are okay sometime during that day. Right. See, and you're at the middle part, so you're at a 5 or 6 from a 0 to 10. Most people, like we are now, we at a 6, 5, 6, 7, mm-hmm. and that's where we'll be at most of the time. Unless some crisis come in on, then we might slip down on the continuum to a 3 or 4. We might start cussing and fussing. But then some people slip farther down on the mental health continuum and get down in the 2 and 1 area, which is the straitjacket area. Mm.
So not to cut you off, but a normal continuum is between 5 and 6. That's
when people get
you're
up
managing
and eat
stress
breakfast
fine.
And,
okay.
And go to work and able to do their job and come home and enjoy their family life or whatever with no problem. But some people slip further down on that continuum, and a lot of times it's because of their addiction, because of the narcotics they be taking from the doctor and stuff like this. And so it's about 12 different didactic presentations, that we do. And once they see those, now they got more knowledge than anybody in the world about addictions and what happened to a person when he become addicted. Now, the next one is the recognition reaction therapy. That's 12 sessions where we might put a word up on the board like alcoholism.
Mm-hmm.
Then we would ask a series of questions. What picture come into your mind when you see that word alcoholism up there? What other place have you ever seen this happen in your life?
Mm-hmm.
And so we do 12 sessions of that. And by the time you do 12 sessions of that, then they are more aware about addictions and about issues and problems in people's life than anybody that they'll ever probably run into.
Right.
That's 12. And then we go into the counseling 24 sessions of personal adjustment therapy. That's where you do exercises. You put them through. First one would be the similar, dissimilar exercise. You say, hey, look around the room, see who you're most similar to.
Mm-hmm.
And then these two people, after they get together, they'll look around and see who's the most dissimilar to them. And seeing this, get them to move, see, and making them realize that movement is what brings relief. Wherever you are, if you move, you get relief.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have projection exercise. We give them four things: something to smell, something to listen to, something to taste a lot of times, and then something to smell, the hearing, your senses.
Your senses.
And then we ask everybody, what was that? Everybody in the room might have a different projection of what they heard
Right.
or what they seen
Right.
or what they smelled. And this is to let people know that it's just according to where you was raised at, is how you
Associate
receive these
certain things, right.
And if you wasn't raised like white and black people were not raised together, so they think different about different
Right.
things. And that's
Right.
where the conflicts comes in at. But once we get them in there and we show them that everybody projects out of their own reference of where they was raised at, then they begin to understand each other.
Right,
They
right.
do this. And then we have exercise like we do a music. We do one of Frank Sinatra song, That's Life. And we do an art form on it. We listen to that song, which that song tells a lot about how people's lives go. Sometimes you're a pauper, sometimes you're a king.
Right.
Everything be going right for you in May, and then it's shot down in June, and then you have to pick yourself back up and get back in the race. See, so we do things like this. And by this time, their vocabulary and their mental capacity is growing.
Right.
See, like it never grown before. And after 24 sessions of personal adjustment therapy, at about session 9 or 10, they know more than anybody in the world know.
So once you understand yourself and you've gone through this process, then if you are an inmate, this is in essence going to help you to not return to prison, because now you understand the things and the addictions that may have drove you to be destructive, and that behavior is why you ended up in prison. So it's a self-reflection sort of healing process, so to speak, because you talked about a holistic component. So it's just about learning yourself so that you don't return into these four walls. And what type of resistance?
You become rational.
A rational thinking being.
See, that's what's wrong with the black race. They don't have rationale in the black race.
Let me say this to you, Mr. Ray, because you have been on my show and you have said that before, I have had a couple of people to take offense to that. But I want, I'm laughing because we tend to get offended by things that we really don't understand, and sometimes the truth hurts. So break down rationale so that people understand what a rational thinking person is.
Yeah, thanks for asking that. Rationale is a behavior pattern that white people was born into. Their mama, their daddies and uncles and all of them is rational thinkers. They run their businesses. They know how to make it in the world out there, and they know what is true most of the time. They know that. And this is what rationale is that you can see what is genuinely what the truth is. See, just like, take for instance, if you were to tell individuals like I do a lot of times, I say you need to stay away from that fast food out there. You need to stay away from them chicken joints out there. I say because it's killing you. See, they don't understand that. What you mean? I love this chicken. It's tasting good, but the genuine truth is that it's killing you.
Right.
Yeah, it's clogging your arteries up.
So a rational thinking person would understand that it's killing us.
Exactly. He would understand exactly what I was saying about it, although he may still go ahead on and eat it because he like it, but
Right.
he'll know the truth. But see, the black race, they don't understand that. They don't know that all of these are things, Mickey D's and all these things is killing them and making them sick. And most of all, they're making them sick.
Hold that thought, Mr. Ray. Before we go to break, I want to remind you about our weekly show lineup. Every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, check out Socrates Garrett Live. On Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, you can check out the Tonya G Show. On Thursday at 6:30 p.m., the doors of the church are open. On Friday at 6:30 Central Standard Time, the Mississippi Link Live. And every Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, the USDA Adventurious Update. Be sure to tune in, and we'll be right back after the break. We have about 13 seconds. Again, support WeBelieve.global and check us out on WeBelieveDigital.com for all of our live stream shows. We'll be right back after these words.
Welcome to the Adventurous Podcast. I'm your host, Deidre Perry, and these are my co-hosts. And weekly, we will be coming to you to bring you the latest information in the world of agriculture. We invite you to join us every Saturday from 10 to 10:30. Join us. Come on, take an adventure.
Hello, friends. This is Pastor J. Artie Stuckey, and I'm personally inviting each and every one of you to join me and the Voices of Restoration May 15th at New Horizon Church International, as we will be having our live recording and videotaping. Listen, you don't want to miss this event. It's going to be awesome and amazing. If you need to get your tickets, the tickets are only $10, and we're looking to see each and every one of you there. Don't miss it.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee.
To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
Yes, you're watching the Tonya G Show. I'm here with my guest, Mr. Robert J. Ray, and we were talking about rationale. And you were explaining it. Continue, Mr. Ray.
I always give an example to the people that don't understand it. I say, where does the sun rise? Does it rise in the east or the west? And everybody that say, well, it rises in the east. Mm-hmm. I say, but that's just apparently true. It's not genuinely true. No, it rises in it. I say, the genuine truth is that it doesn't. The sun doesn't move at all. It's the earth that's turning, that's running through the universe at 1,000 miles an hour. See, this is the way. Now, if you take that and run with that, you're going to get a lot of pies in your face. And this is the same way it is with life. Like my book, The Black and White Race Rationale, people. It tells you why the black race have been behind in everything. It's because the white race, they have all the rationale. And when you came out of slavery, you didn't get that. Eventually, they let you go to school. Eventually, they let you get a degree and graduate. But they don't mention anything about rationale. And that's what you need to use the education that you have. You need that. So this is one book you and your family should read to learn the rationale that the white people have that the black people don't even know exists. And this is why I wrote that book. And,
now, can you teach rationale, Mr. Ray?
That's what this does. When you go through this process, you become a rational, moving human being. You learn how to be a holistic human being. You learn how to eat properly. You learn how to have a relationship with other individuals, mates. You learn how to treat your wife or your girlfriend and something like that. And all of these things you learn how to deal with, even with the government, even with the police. You learn how to deal with them in a rational manner. And this is what you do. This is what the process teaches the individual to become rational, and he learned how to deal with all his issues in a rational way instead of irrational. Black people have irrational, white people have the rationale.
Okay, and you have heard it here from Mr. Ray. We're going to move on into your political realm, because in my intro, I stated that you had run for governor. That was in 2019, and you are currently running for mayor. So let's talk about your campaign trail and just some of the issues that you are seeing that needs to be rectified in Meridian.
Yeah, I would go down to the city council and I would listen to them say what they need, and it was always a fight about money. They don't have enough money to do this. And then where I live at, the roads are so pothole, and every time I go in, my back is almost hurt just pulling up in my driveway. And I've asked him about that, and he, in the mayor person plan, he did the blacktop all the way to where the white people's houses ended at. But the village apartment where black people mostly live at, all that's just rough, bumpy road down through there. He could have did another quarter mile and had
just
everybody.
fixed that.
Yeah. So I got angry about that, and I told them about that, and they never fixed it. They would come out there and put some blacktop over there and pack it down. Then the first rain we get, it'll go deeper.
Right back, right.
So I said, well, I'm gonna run for this mayor thing because I wanted to point out really what he hadn't done, and I wanted to tell him about, and he would not listen to getting the systemic racism in the police. We've had about 4 or 5 police chiefs in the last year or so.
Oh wow!
So you know what's something wrong there.
Right.
But they won't admit it. They just slip in somebody else and they go down there, and next thing you know, they're in trouble. But they won't let me put the rationale in the police department and deal with the systemic racism. So I was going to fight him for that. That's why I got in there. I'll say, well, I'm going to ask him, why won't you deal with the systemic racism when everybody in America want to deal with the systemic racism? And I'm the only one that have a process that you could be putting it in there. And then this is going to bring millions of dollars
to the city.
To the city.
Gotcha.
And these people act like they don't know what
just
I'm
dumbfounded.
talking about. Yeah.
So talk about the campaign trail a little bit. Where have you been? Where have you been speaking? And how is the mayoral campaign different from when you were running for governor? Are there similarities or some differences?
It's similarities because we had a debate there. It was about 10 of us. We had a debate on Cornelius' podcast down in Maria, and everybody got their 2 cents in there. But in the end, Cornelius, he said I was his favorite candidate.
Now, who is Cornelius?
He does the podcast.
Oh, he's the podcast. I'm sorry.
He does the podcast.
Okay.
Cornelius, I forget what he calls it.
Okay.
So we did that. And then I was on a Republican running, and then we got one white guy, which I know him. We talked, and I told him about he's on the city council, and I had talked to him about helping me get this systemic racism training in the police station. And he's saying, well, you can't train racism.
You can't train it.
You can't. That's what he's saying. And see, and that just proves my point. That's what he has been taught. See, he don't understand. He don't know what can be taught.
Exactly.
See, that's just his projection.
Exactly.
And see, this is what white people do. They just project that the black man don't know what he's talking about because we got everything. We got all of the money and everything.
Right.
And so they had the Democratic runoff, and so 2 of them, a guy named Jimmy Smith, who had been a committee man before when I was working in the prison, and he used to come out to all of the fairs out at the prison. You know how you invite the dignitaries out there when they had graduation or something. I had talked to him out there, and so we had got a relationship going. So he's the other guy that's running for mayor, and so he ran, and he got more votes than Percy Bland, which I was happy about that. And we had a couple of more sessions down there that I went to the Women League of Voters. They did an interview with all of the candidates. So we did that. And it's just less energy than running all over the state.
Gotcha.
And then I was looking at the salaries of the people in Meridian. No idea. These white people down there are making 75, 85,
What are they doing?
I have an idea what they're doing for this money. I say with the city slowly dying like it is.
Because you said there's no money for funding for streets
no
and
money
such,
for the streets
but
and
we
stuff.
can pay these salaries
But
of
we're
these.
paying these salaries of all of these white people that's making $70,000 and $80,000 a year. The mayor, he only makes $80,000, and it's 4 people above him that make more than he does. The police chief make more than the mayor. And I could never figure that out. I say, the boss, you the boss, and he's making more money than you. And so I'm going to get in there and find out exactly what are you people doing to earn this much money from a city that's always crying that they don't have money.
Broke.
That's broke. See, so that's one reason I'm in there. And most of the people, they don't want to hear what I got to say.
So tell me, because the last time we did talk, you told me that you were switching over from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party. Talk a little bit about why you traded parties, or changed parties.
It just goes to show you that I hadn't been looking at it, the parties. You just go along with the Democrats. You say, well,
because we're black, so
we're black. We just going to do it. But once I started to investigate it, I found out it was all the Democrats who held the black race back in everything. When they was on the Supreme Court thing, and they were saying that we wanted the black race to be a citizen when they came out of slavery. The Democrats voted against that. They didn't want you to be a citizen. If you had been a slave, then you could not be a citizen anymore.
Hold that thought, Mr. Ray. Before we go to break, I want to remind you about our weekly show lineup. Every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, check out Socrates Garrett Live. All these times are Central Standard Time. On Wednesday at 6:30, the Tonya G Show. On Thursday at 6:30 p.m., the doors of the church are open. I'm having problems with that. On Friday at 6:30 p.m., the Mississippi Link Live. And every Saturday at 10 a.m., the USDA Adventurious Update. Be sure to tune in, and we'll be right back. Hi, I'm Tonya Gray with your Insurance Minute. People buy life insurance for a number of reasons. One of the primary reasons is providing income protection for a family in the event a breadwinner passes away. Another reason is providing financial security for children should something happen to the parents. Life insurance can even be a way to offset estate taxes in large estate plans. Another reason some people buy life insurance is to save for retirement. The cash value in some permanent life insurance policies can grow tax deferred, and the cash value can be borrowed at a later date. When using life insurance as a cash savings vehicle, it is important to understand the internal fees and guarantees that are built into the policy. Life insurance should be used as a tool for financial protection in case of death. The KPG agency's focus is to provide financial protection in the most cost-effective way possible. Contact us today to start your policy. Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee.
To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
You're tuned in to the Tonya G Show. I'm here with Mr. Robert J. Ray, and we were talking about, what were we just speaking about, Mr. Ray?
The Republican. The reason I switched over.
Yes, go ahead.
Frederick Douglass was a Republican. Martin Luther King was a Republican. And the Republicans were the one that was trying to see that the black race got what they were supposed to get as citizens. The Democrats was, every time they would voted against the black race getting it. Now, Woodrow Wilson was a Democrat. When he got to be president, he went in there and segregated the mail-in part of the federal government, U.S. mail.
Gotcha.
It was blacks and whites were working together. He went in there and segregated. Harry Truman said that he didn't have too much to say about the white man. He was good, but he couldn't tolerate a Chinaman. He couldn't tolerate a black person, which he called him the N word. And these was Democrats. And I can't, for the life of me, wonder why all of the black race is following these Democrats, and they're nothing but kick them in the teeth all this time. And in 1964, in the 64, when the Democrats devastated the family line, they say, we'll send y'all a check, but no man can stay in the home. That devastated
breaking up the black family. Right.
That broke it up. So I'm asking, what
are the Democrats really doing
for
black people?
For black people.
Right.
But see, this is because the black people, they don't have a rationale mind to understand what's happening to them. All the black people going for Democrats, they done did this for us, they done did that for us. But if you look at it, every time a Democrat be a president, nothing changes for the black race.
Nothing.
Nothing at all changes for the black race. And so that's why I say, well, I'm going to get in there, I'm going to run for the Republicans. So I'm supposed to meet with the Republicans after the runoff.
Okay.
We're going to have a meeting. And then I'm going to see what they've been doing, what they want to do to help me win as a Republican, and see if they want to make the city of Meridian a great city and bring businesses there and money. And see, this is what I would do with this process. I would train workers to know how to work in facilities like a automobile plant. I understand when Cannon opened that plant over there, they had to go back and almost teach the people how to read.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they couldn't eat. They see a sign say no smoking, they be smoking.
Oh, wow.
And they'd say, well, how come you smoking? And they would find out they couldn't read. So they didn't understand. They didn't do their homework. They didn't go in there. See, all of these people in Canton, they from the Delta and the surrounding area. They didn't care too much for reading and writing then. And it hurt the plant. So now, down there where we are, we have all of this land. We have the industrial place out there, but Percy Bland can't get not one plant to come there because of the racism there and the conflicts that's going on. Nobody's going to bring their businesses down there where they got a white guy that went into Lockheed and shot up a lot of people. People don't forget that.
Right.
And this is the kind of people that we have down there in Meridian. They think. See, you wouldn't want to trust your billion-dollar plant to a city like that.
Well, we wish you success on this mayoral campaign and trail. And once you win the mayor's race, you have to come back and talk to us about that.
Be happy to.
Yes, sir. So we're going to get into a little bit of hot topics here, Mr. Ray. You know, the George Floyd case and trial and verdict has been hot, and Chauvin was found guilty. Were you shocked at all?
No, I wasn't shocked. It was just because if they would have let him go free, then that meant that all had been lost. Because anytime you see a police officer put his knee and his weight on a person's neck for 9 minutes, which they said that's what killed him, he's a depraved individual.
Indeed.
See, that's depravity.
Yeah.
And that means that you are indifferent to human life.
Well, that's wicked.
That's what you call it. That's a wicked thing.
That's a demon.
Exactly, and that's what he had done. And he sit there and he just squares the life out of Floyd.
Right.
And it didn't take. I was surprised when they came back in 11 hours. I said, yeah, that was just about enough time for them to get in there and say, hey, there's no redeeming value here.
So how much time is justice? How much time do you think he should serve?
They can't give him enough time for that. When you do something depraved like that, it's not enough prison time for that.
Do you think they'll give him at least 20 years?
I doubt it. I think they'll probably give him something like 12 years. No record. They look at that when it's a white individual.
No record.
No record.
You can take a life. It doesn't matter if you have a record prior to that, huh?
But a black man, he can be clean as the Board of Health, and they'll give him 50, 60 years right off the bat.
Absolutely.
So I project that they'll do all of this. And seeing all of this is white rational stuff. It don't take eight weeks to do this stuff.
Right.
But that have to get the black people to calm down. And then they go in there, and then they see, now, how can we best serve Chauvin and get him the best deal we can get? See, this is a white
They're going to find a way to stick together through it all, right?
And all this, although they know he was a demon, but we have to take care of our demon.
Right.
So they'll get around there, and they'll hee-haw around, and then they'll give it to the judge, and they'll say, well, we recommend him not having a record. We recommend giving him 12 years and stuff like that, which he could be out in 6 years.
Right, with good behavior and such.
With good behavior and stuff. But that's like I said, you can't really, when someone does something like that, it's going to take out-of-worldly stuff to deal with that.
Absolutely.
Because that was a depraved
thing. Oh, yeah, that was beyond horrific there, Mr. Ray.
But just to mention that now, the thing that I get anxious about is when black people turn these black guys, which are dysfunctional, and they're demonic too, and they are drug addicts, and then, but when they die, they try to make a saint out of them.
Are you referring to Dante Wright and just different killings and shootings that happened?
Dante Wright, the one, he was running from the police. He was a little criminal type guy. Yeah,
so what do you say to people that say, well, even if he was a criminal and he had a record, did he deserve to die?
No, he didn't deserve to die, but he brought that on himself. Instead of him staying there taking and say, well, I done ran a couple times, they got me dead to right this time. Yeah, so I'm going to give myself up.
Well, so what do you say to those people who say the police handle mass shooters with kid gloves and they take them in unarmed and nobody dies when they've killed up numerous people, but black men who are typically unarmed and have not hurt or harmed or killed anybody are killed? What do you say to that?
Because the white race love their race. They love their race till it stinks.
That's the rationale, Mr. Ray. We need to understand that you are dealing with a non-black cop, and they love their race, so you might not need to run. Right.
Like that little white guy that shot those 9 people in church praying to their God and stuff, and they took him to the hammer. See, they saw him as their nephew or son or somebody. So they loved him, even though he had just murdered 9 black people, and they took him to Burger King, got him a Burger King.
They did.
And things like this. So they love each other till it stinks because it just flows out of them. See, they don't even know they're doing it. They don't even know that they shouldn't be seen doing that because it just automatically, they love each other to this point.
Hold that thought, Mr. Ray. Before we go to break, I want to remind you about our weekly show lineup. Every Tuesday at 7:30, Socrates Garrett Live. On Wednesday at 6:30, the Tonya G Show. On Thursday at 6:30, the doors of the church are open. On Friday at 6:30 p.m., the Mississippi Link. And every Saturday at 10 a.m., the USDA Adventurious Update. Be sure to tune in. We'll be right back after the break. Also, check us out on WeBelieveDigital.com and the KPGAgency.com for all of your insurance needs.
Hello, friends. This is Pastor J. Stuckey, and I'm personally inviting each and every one of you to join me and the Voices of Restoration May 15th at New Horizon Church International, as we will be having our live recording and videotaping. Listen, you don't want to miss this event. It's going to be awesome and amazing. If you need to get your tickets, the tickets are only $10, and we're looking to see each and every one of you there. Don't miss it.
Welcome to the Adventurous Podcast. I'm your host, Deidre Perry, and these are my co-hosts. And weekly, we will be coming to you to bring you the latest information in the world of agriculture. We invite you to join us every Saturday from 10 to 10:30. Join us. Come on, take an adventure.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee.
To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
You're watching the Tonya G Show. I'm here with Mr. Robert J. Ray, and we were talking about, continue, Mr. Ray.
The Floyd case. Now, you couldn't get anybody to say anything good about Floyd when he was alive. When he lived. But when he was dead, everybody loved Floyd.
Oh, right.
See, this is hypocrisy. This is hypocritical. But the black race are led into this. The Black Lives Matter thing. That's not a good thing for the black race, because as I understand it, the people, the women that created this thing, she's buying rich property out in the white areas with the money that they raised on it. They say she's bought about 3 different properties out there.
Mm-hmm.
Black Lives Matter. Mm-hmm. That's not doing anything for
black lives,
race.
Right?
Yeah, for black lives. Mm-hmm. They are using, and the black race are always getting used by somebody to raise money. The Million Man March. Mm-hmm. Saint just raised money for Farrakhan and that bunch.
Right.
And the Christian Million raised money. They got rich off of it, but they paid the people participate. They had to pay high fees to be a part of it. So it's just that the black race, they can't see what is being done. Now, the $27 million that came from Floyd being, that's the best thing that came out of this whole thing. His family should.
The civil lawsuit.
His $27 million, all of them should live pretty good now off of that, which they don't mention the money that they've gotten. But this is the only way that you can say something good came out of this whole thing.
Right,
see?
right.
So, but you can't not praise these black people that get killed, and then all of a sudden you love them, but when they were living, they was dysfunctional.
Right.
A lot of them was demons. A lot of them was criminals. A lot of them was drug addicts and stuff. But you got to look at the genuine truth of these things, and that will lead me into the last thing I wanted to share with you. This Dr. David Williams, a Harvard man, a black man who have studied the black race and health for 25 years. And this is what he come up with. I wrote it down just to make sure.
Okay.
He said that 220 black Americans die every day prematurely because of health issues, because of the non-discriminatory scale. He created a scale. Now, this is it. I wrote it down because I want you people to understand it. He said that every day, black people, you are treated with less courtesy than other people. He said that you are treated with less respect than other people. He said that you receive poor service when you go out to stores and restaurants than other races. It said that people act as though you're not smart. Say people act as they are afraid of you. People act as that they think you are dishonest. And he said people think that you are better than you are. And that, number 8, they think that they call you names and they insult you. And number 9, they threaten and they harass you. He said because the black race have to go through this 24/7, it eats away at their health and all of these things do. And he said that's equivalent to 220 people crashing in a jumbo jet every day, week in, week out, money in, week out. That's a lot of black people dying prematurely.
That is.
And because of the what they have to go through.
Right.
How they're treated.
Right.
And now they're trying to legislate this. You can't legislate people to love you. They've got to know you. They've got to understand you. They've got to invite you over to their barbecues. You got to invite them over to yours. And white and blacks, they don't do that.
Well, do you think that we can ever have an honest conversation about race, Mr. Ray?
Not really honest, because people not going to say. They hold these biases and they family members are racist. That's why you can't hardly get to, if you got a black and white person that become good friends, they would have to be friends other than where their families are.
Right.
Because somebody in the black family going to hate white people. Somebody in the white family going to hate black people, and they ain't going to be comfortable being around those people. But if everybody was rational thinking in the races, then you could get along. You would understand. You could talk. You could say your biases. Well, when I was a kid, I thought like this because of this and that. And then say, well, we thought like this and that.
Right.
And once you come together, then you could do things together.
Right.
You could build something
on
that. But here in Mississippi, you can't. And it was a guy that was going to go in every state and hit a golf ball. He said that he went to every state but Mississippi.
That's terrible.
He said, go. You can go to every state, but don't go to Mississippi.
That is terrible.
This is the kind of reputation that Mississippi has around the world in the United States. And they're down there in Maria. They got these big venues, the Mack Center, the Children's Museum, and the Riley Center, and all of these. And I keep telling them nobody's coming to visit these places, and they haven't been coming.
So no one is, their business is not coming through.
Nobody's coming through that. They had to give the Mack Center money to keep it open, to keep it going.
Well, how did they get the money to build it? How did they get the money to fund it?
Rich white people.
Oh.
They thought, they always, rich white people always ready to throw things in like that. And all it is a big lose. It's a big waste of money. And because it costs you $10 to go in there, what baby mama going to pay $10 for each one of her kids to go in there?
Yeah, it's too costly.
It's too costly.
I have one more thing I want to talk about here, Mr. Ray, before we go. It says New Jersey adds X gender marker on driver's licenses and other state identification. So this article came from CNN. It says New Jersey is now joining at least 19 states and Washington, D.C. in allowing an X gender identifier on driver's license and other identification. This is part of legislation passed in 2018 that will allow residents to change their gender identification more easily. So it goes on to say that if you identify as non-binary or someone who doesn't identify as male or female, you can now use X on your driver's license. What do you think about that?
This is just another way to raise money and to discriminate against people. The issue is that they want to know who these people are. And that's the way that they identify them, is by putting these X's and these transgender by these people's name so that they would know them. And then they can discriminate against them and they don't even understand what's
I
being
never
done.
would have thought about it from that standpoint, Mr. Ray. So you're saying this could be used as a discriminatory thing against those who identify as binary or non-binary.
That's the only thing it is.
Well, Mr. Ray, what is binary or non-binary, and how can you not identify as male or female now? We have been assigned parts when we were born, so to now say you ain't identifying as either one, come on now.
Listen, with all of the experimentation has been going on with people in medical fields and stuff like this. And with all of the evil and falsity that people have indulged in their life, all of the sexual stuff they've indulged in all their life, sometimes the genes don't come out right.
I would have to agree with that.
And then when they come out right, you may say, well, you got your a little handsome baby boy there. But on the inside, might be totally female, might be female. So now the individual has to grow up looking like a male, but feeling like a female on the inside.
I wish I would have asked this question a little bit earlier, Mr. Ray, because now we have run out of time.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for stopping by and sharing your knowledge with us, and we have covered quite a bit. Again, keep us posted on your run for mayor, and once you win, I want you to come back. I'm already speaking that into existence.
All right, I will do.
To my viewers, thank you so much for tuning in today. Please be sure to tune into all of our shows on WeBelieveDigital.com, as well as live on Facebook at We Believe Digital Podcast. I am here every Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. We started a little bit earlier today, but tune in next Wednesday to the Tonya G Show. We will have another guest, and continue to support us. We'll see you next time.
Hi, I'm Tonya Gray with your Insurance Minute. A final expense life insurance policy is also often called burial insurance. This type of insurance policy is designed to pay any cost associated with your death. The amount that the insurance policy pays out depends on how much you pay for the premiums during the life of the plan. Some people have a clear idea of how they want their funeral or burial to be, while other individuals do not care one way or another. Whether you have the perfect funeral plan or simply do not care what happens to your body after you die, it is still important to note that any type of funeral that is planned for you will not be cheap. The cost of a funeral is not something you want to leave to your family to come up with. Most people cannot afford to spend upwards of $10,000 all at once. If you do not want this burden to fall on your family and you do not have the cash ready to pay for your cremation or burial, final expense life insurance policies are there for you. Let the KPG agency help to ease the worry of this financial burden. Contact us today to start your policy.
Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee.
To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
Welcome to the Adventurous Podcast. I'm your host, Deidre Perry, and these are my co-hosts. And weekly, we will be coming to you to bring you the latest information in the world of agriculture. We invite you to join us every Saturday from 10 to 10:30. Join us. Come on, take an adventure.